was born in Forres in Scotland, 19th September 1964. My dad was in the RAF, so he was away when I was born, so my mum was left to deal with it on her own, but that was our RAF life. So we were in Scotland for 2 years and then went to Northern Ireland, then from Northern Ireland to London, and then from London to Singapore. So my childhood was spent moving around until I was 10, and then my parents settled in Plymouth. I went to a Wishbone Ash concert at the university in Plymouth, and I met an art student, and he was telling me how fabulous art college was. And went to art college instead, and went to Epsom, to another art college to do a further 2 years of graphic design. Left there with a huge overdraft, went to the job centre in London, and they said there's a job going at the Fulham Pottery.
Which is where I work.
Cha-ching!
Is that where you met each other?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And that's how we met.
Yeah.
How did you actually...
Well, Dave came into the office and I said to one of the other directors, he's very nice. And the other director said he's also married. And I said, okay, that's fine.
We worked together for several years.
Yeah.
Before we lost touch, and then when we met again, we started going out.
Who made the first move?
I asked you to,
You
to
did.
go out.
It was my 28th birthday party, and I'd invited David along. Afterwards, you phoned me the following day and said, do you want to go out?
Yeah.
And we went to the Victoria and Albert Museum.
I've been living alone for a couple of years, and I thought it was time I tried to go out a bit more. Louise was already, we were already friends from the pottery, so
It just went
it was
from
nice.
there.
Yeah.
So you were living down south at that point?
We were
both
both
in
living
London.
in London, yeah.
So after that you moved to...
Well,
We were together for 6 years before we got married.
yeah.
And then when we got married, we thought, right, let's not stay in London because it was inhibiting our work. We couldn't expand. And we came up to Loughborough, found an enormous house, which was really cheap compared with London prices, and thought, right, we'll make the move.
But we'd already started a pottery business in London,
Yeah.
and we thought we could expand when we got to the Midlands.
In a bigger house.
So, there.
So that took us to Sileby,
Nice.
which I hated.
Well, we both thought, maybe we could go and live by the sea and sell our pots in the southwest. So we decided to go and live in Sidmouth. Yeah.
Which was lovely, but very expensive,
Yeah.
and we couldn't maintain it.
We've never made a huge amount of money, but we've been able to have the freedom to work when we want.
Do what we want. Meet lots of lovely people
Yeah,
all over the country.
Does it make you appreciate things that don't cost money?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all
You
about,
don't need loads of money.
it's about the
Really.
friends you meet, really, and I don't know, just being able to go for a walk on a Tuesday instead of going to an office on a Tuesday.
Sure. So we thought, right, where to go next? And we didn't want to make a mistake, so we knew Loughborough.
Yeah.
Safe option, family up here. So that's where we are at the moment. So the business was booming. So 2012 was fantastic.
My honey, fare thee well.
August Bank Holiday 2012, I fell over, hurt my back, and my back just ached all through the autumn of 12 until finally all my muscles gave up and snapped.
That's when we were
In
really busy
December.
at Christmas.
We were really busy, loads of shows booked, and I just couldn't move.
She was getting slower and slower.
Yeah.
And
That
you
was
ended up
bad.
not being able to move, didn't you?
Yeah, I just had to just lie on my bed in agony.
Something serious had obviously happened.
Yeah. The doctor said it was the muscles in your back have just given up.
Yeah. He suggested it was a pulled muscle, didn't he?
Yes, he did. So then not being able to get a bra on for 2 months, and gravity, and being 47 years old at the time, I felt a lump. And I said to Dave, what do you reckon? And he said, yes, that is a lump.
There.
So in January we fast-tracked into the Glenfield Hospital after my GP said, yes, that is a lump, and she got me in within a week. And they did an ultrasound, a biopsy, and the registrar who was doing all the testing, he was saying, oh dear.
Yeah.
So there were all the noises that you do not make in front of a patient who's got breast cancer. They said, come back in a week's time for the results. And Christine, my sister-in-law, came up from London to go to the hospital with me, where they sat me down and said, yes, you have breast cancer. And then you think, right, what next? I knew nothing about breast cancer. I knew nobody who'd had it. I knew nothing about it.
It was a big shock.
It was a huge shock.
Like a big jolt.
And you think, this is life-changing, and it's very, very scary all of a sudden, having never been ill my whole life, never been into hospital. So your first reaction is to hit the internet, which is probably the worst thing to do, because that is just really scary. Everybody's worst experiences of having any sort of cancer, and that just scares the living daylights out of you. So then I had to wait 3 weeks before I saw the consultant. So that was just 3 weeks of worrying and waiting and waiting. And
you kept phoning the hospital.
And phoning the
not
hospital.
It's really frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, it was maddening.
Getting started
took ages.
Seemed to take ages. You think, this is urgent, we need to do something now, and nothing's happening. Eventually we did get to see the junior doctor, didn't we?
Yeah.
This is in the oncology department at Leicester Royal Infirmary. Yeah?
Yeah, oncology being cancer related things. So we've gone to oncology, we've had a chat with the registrar. She said, you'll have 6 rounds of chemotherapy and then a mastectomy. And it was as cut and dry as that. And that's not what I'd been told previously, but that's another story. And then you go in and you're injected with your chemo drugs, which wasn't very pleasant, but it was okay. And they said, be prepared to be sick, but they'll give you drugs to counteract that. So the first 3-week session I had of chemo was okay. I was sick twice, no diarrhoea, mouth ulcers, and that was about it. So I thought, okay, this is a doddle, I can deal with this. And then round 2 was bad. I had lots of infections.
But also at this time you had a scan.
Yes.
And suddenly we had a phone call one night saying we'd like Louise to come into the hospital immediately, and we didn't know why. And so we went to the hospital.
Yeah, that was very scary.
And
I was put on bed rest immediately.
yeah, she was told to lie down on the bed.
I had to lie down still and not get out of the bed.
And the registrar on duty explained that the breast cancer had metastasised, it had gone into her back.
So when the GP said my muscles had given out, it wasn't, it was my vertebra collapsing.
It was Louise's spine, where the cancer had already gone.
Had eaten away at my vertebra and
one of the vertebrae had collapsed, which was causing all the back pain. So it had been going on for some months before, and this was like a huge shock. And it became really frightening all of a sudden, didn't it?
Yes, it did, because then they were talking about me being paralysed, because where the vertebra had collapsed, it was impinging on my spinal cord, and it was in danger of
compression.
snapping my spinal cord, which would have left me paralysed.
So you had the like dramatic weight loss
Huge weight
and the
loss.
hair loss. What was it? Because I came round.
Well, that's why we shaved the hair off,
That
Cara.
was. Do you want to tell that story?
I will do, yes. Cara's sitting on the end of my bed with her gorgeous red locks and she's twirling them round her finger. So I thought I'd do the same, but it came off on my finger. And Cara's face was one of horror, shall we say. She couldn't disguise it.
So it's time to cut the hair off.
Yeah, so when she'd gone, I said to Dave, come on, let's get the razor out. And then we just shaved it all off.
I give her a very short cut.
It was quite interesting.
Mm.
I found it quite fascinating because I'd never in a million years have shaved my head for anything. And then all of a sudden you're in a situation where you have to.
Was it like, obviously like it's quite a visual thing. What was it like having people's responses when they could visually see that?
That was
now
quite
had
interesting
cancer?
actually. In the street, some people either look away, some people are getting children to walk away from you, kids that were staring. Because
When you're bored.
last summer was very, very hot, so quite often I didn't put anything on my head at all and just went out bald. So some people would really stare at you, some people would look at you very sympathetically.
Get the smiles.
You'd
from
get
other
the smiles
patients.
from other patients or other people who'd experienced it. You'd get people coming up and talking to you and saying, you know, I know what you're going through, lots of love to you, and you know, strangers in the streets, which was phenomenal. It's so heartwarming.
What amazed me was there are thousands and thousands of women
Yeah.
that go through this. Being in the breast clinic, you know, there's just hundreds of women every day going for diagnosis, and sadly some of them get it. And it's a lot of people that get breast cancer. So you know, the sooner you can find out about it, the better, really.
So it's just very much routine now. So 2 pills and an injection, and trying to get on with life and not dwell on it all the time. Maybe that's why I've forgotten all the details.
Don't forget your big operation as well.
Oh yes, in amongst all of this. Oh yes. And last October we had the operation to sort out the collapsed vertebra, which was injecting cement into the 3 vertebrae at the top of my spine where the cancer is.
Where the collapse is.
Yeah. So the doctor lasered out the cancer from the vertebra above and below the one that's collapsed and injected it with cement to give me some stability.
Strength.
And some strength. But there's still cancer in some mets lower down my spine, and we're just keeping an eye on those.
But also that second time in the hospital, Dr. Plant told you that you weren't going to get better.
Oh, that's right, yes. That was a little chat one afternoon where I was told I was now terminal. They'll never cure this. And
once the
it will kill me.
cancer's got into the spine, although it can be managed, it's never going to be
cured.
We can never get rid of it.
That was a pretty dark moment because I was on my own in a hospital bed,
When
surrounded
Louise
by
told
old
them,
ladies, and just coming to terms with the fact you've finally been told this is it, this is what you are going to die of. It's not the end of the world, it's not, oh my god, I've got cancer, that's it. There's lots of people out there to help you.
I'm looking forward to taking you to Leicester Royal Infirmary for years to come.
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're okay though.
Yeah, but I'm okay. It's fine. I'm in a good place because I have so much support and love, particularly from this one.